1.2 miles. And this road's going to become Wheaton. And then you're going to make a slight right onto Skidaway Drive.
The next morning, we're in the car heading toward a major historic landmark, Bonaventure.
And turn left on East 36th Street.
It's a little drive. It's not in the city per se, but any drive you can take around here is a nice one. So we're headed to the cemetery that's on the cover of the book, or just a little snippet of it on the cover of the book. And the house, which we saw yesterday, for $12 they show you 2 rooms and a hallway, and they don't tell you anything. Sounds like a scam.
Everyone's blaming Dottie, the sister. It's all over TripAdvisor.
If you don't want to tell anything, don't turn your house into a museum.
You're so smart. I got bug bracelets on.
Bonaventure Cemetery has a visitor center. I was far more leery of filming in places in those days.
Are you filming?
I was just giving it a shot.
Okay. We got a pamphlet, and so people will know they can't see the bird.
The statue of the girl on the front of the book is no longer in the cemetery, due to vandalism, I believe. There's this really neat laser-etched map of the cemetery.
There's the one tombstone that's like a bench,
Okay.
but we really don't care. We're just sort of...
Oh, we always did like
They
cemetery.
give you a map in the Welcome Center, but if you want the pamphlet, it's a donation. So I gave $2.
Learn ways that way.
Yeah, Conrad Aiken. A Legion Section O.
Okay, so looking back at the video, I didn't shoot as thoroughly as I would have thought I would have. Please don't ask me what I was thinking when I shot this, because I shot it and even I don't know. But the grounds of the cemetery are just beautiful. The visitor center is open from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. on weekends, and second weekend tours have resumed, presumably paused due to the pandemic. The cemetery gates are open from 8 to 5. They have a Facebook page where you can find updates. Bonaventure Cemetery is over 100 acres. It began in 1846 as Evergreen Cemetery. At that time it was 70 acres on the original Bonaventure plantation. Its design is that of a Victorian cemetery, which is what you see here. I guess I expected it to look more like Linwood Cemetery. You know, big, wide open, hot and brutal. This is more shady and... It's Victorian, Brian. Mossy. It's Victorian.
This is probably the prettiest cemetery you'll ever see.
Probably. It's located on a bluff on the Wilmington River. It was made nationally famous by the novel Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil. It is mid-afternoon in the Garden of Good and Evil.
Closes at 5, so you can't really get here at midnight. Like, we're breaking like 20 million billion laws.
Yeah, at least not legally. It's really like a country stroll through a woodland that just happens to be a cemetery. In the old days, people would come here to picnic.
We have
One day we'll come back, and I'll cover this place properly.
Tombstone.
It's a very serene place. So it'll be right up here, should be. H75.
There it is. Good job.
So we were looking for something. Now tell me about Wheaton. We really just read off the pamphlets.
Commanded the Confederate Chatham Artillery 1862 to 1865, served 3 terms as mayor of Savannah 1876 to 1882, president of the Savannah Cotton Exchange 1879-1881, state funeral given by Chatham Artillery in which he served from 1856 to 1895. He was born in 1822 and he died in 1898. Oh, little 7.
Sir.
Wait, this is George Mercer. Where's Hugh Mercer? No, that's a different Hugh Mercer. Hold on.
What about that Hugh Mercer?
No, that's a later Hugh Mercer.
They knew there were so many Hughes.
Hold on. Hugh W. Mercer, F-19.
F-19.
Brigadier General in the Army of Confederacy, placed in command of Savannah, 1864.
Was he the one that owned the house? That bought the house?
He bought the house, but
Okay. He's the one that bought the house and didn't live in it. And he has nothing to do with the story or the cemetery.
there's stuff in the book for atmosphere that is not really directly related to the story, or is not verifiable to the story. Like, we heard the tour guide, you know, saying, oh, Jim and Danny used to come here, you know. Is that even in the book? I don't remember. So there's loose ties to the cemetery and to these people, but it's not like concrete ties. And if you didn't read the book, I don't really, you know, you can just, I don't feel sorry for you. Like, I'm trying to help you. It's been a long time. That book came out like in the 90s. It's been a long time since I even read it.
There's really someone with the last name Space? Here's one I bet you didn't know.
Josiah Tatnall the third. Here we go. Confederate naval defenses.
So tell us about Tatnall, Stacey.
He's credited with coining the phrase "blood is thicker than water," and he was a Confederate naval officer.
Oh yeah, these are from the 1800s. And then we come across a sad and tragic grave.
She was the daughter of some people who ran a hotel. Sculpted from a photograph taken shortly before her death.
Wow. A child's grave, who is rumored to haunt the cemetery.
And the rest of her family is buried somewhere else. So that's like her ghost haunts the cemetery because she was left alone.
Wow, people throw toys in there.
Yeah, it's pretty famous, this one.
Little Gracie Watson, who died of pneumonia 2 days before Easter.
The father was the manager of the Fulsaki House, one of the leading hotels. And then she died suddenly. But then they moved.
She was 6 years old. Wow. Here's something you don't see every day. I thought they were Civil War guys at first. Thought they were Civil War soldiers. This is the Order of Railroad Conductors home. All the headstones here are railroad men. Honestly, I can't find a lot on it. But if you Google the Order of Railroad Conductors home, there is a sort of a library page on it. There are a lot of men buried here. And just like that, our trip to Bonaventure Cemetery comes to an end. And then it rained, and I met the hotel night manager. We came out and it started raining a lot. And don't know if they're going to do the fireworks tonight.
Mackenzie Nixon.
Mackenzie Nixon.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Mackenzie, tell me a little bit about what all Savannah has.
I think it has so much history. There's a great food culture here. It's really big on tourism and hotels, and it's just a beautiful city full of parks and just a beautiful place. My favorite things to do are, I love to just go sit in the parks. There's like, I want to say 18 different parks, and I love to just go on my random days off and pick a different park and sit in it and maybe have a cocktail on the in the park. That's one of my favorite things to do. And then I love just going around to different places and experiencing the different food. Like I said before, it is a really great food culture here, and that is one of my favorite things to do. Zunzi's, it is a South African and Swiss restaurant. It has, I think one of the I don't know exactly which one it was, but it has won award for the best sandwich. Another one of my favorites is Huey's. It's a New Orleans style seafood. I thoroughly enjoyed that one as well. Let's see, where else do I love? Jazz is this tapas bar. Also another one of my favorites. Vic's on the River is really good.
Cool.
I'm more of a seafood person, so I enjoy the seafood aspect of it. But I would say those are my top.
Now, where did you come here from?
Wilmington, North Carolina.
And what was the biggest impression made on you when you got here?
You could definitely tell it was a city that focused on tourism, and me being in the hospitality industry for the past 5 years, it was vitally important to me that I went to a tourism town, and the Southern hospitality also was a big draw for me as
Right.
well.
Meeting him was a great pleasure, and now it's down to the river for the fireworks. After all, it's Independence Day. Oh, that's cool. And this 8-year journey nears its end. But before it does, one of our viewers said next time we go we should look into the history of the Girl Scouts. Well, it turns out we did when we were there. A fact I discovered while editing. The first Girl Scouts headquarters in the U.S. As always, we'll see you down the road.